Hey, okay, so it came to my attention another anniversary. Like I talked about Legend of Zelda 35 years. Well, guess what? Another one of my favorite movies. Not Newsies, though they may come up. They're everywhere. So, this movie, it's one of my favorites. We all know it. The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer is 30 years old this year. Oh my heavens! How this doesn't see? I have a lot of memorabilia. I mean, you see these two things. I have Beeman's gum up there, and and everything. I have the VHS. I didn't get the DVD. I have some of my memorabilia here, and I'll show it. I think I did another for like the 25th. Seems like, and it's probably somewhere. In my, I don't think I deleted it, but yeah, it should be somewhere. But yeah, it's 30 years old. And gosh, yeah, because I was 9. And I could wait until June 21st, when it was released. I so badly wanted to see this movie in the theater. I mean, and that's the thing, is Disney was releasing quite a few. They released Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then Dick Tracy. Of course, Dick Tracy was through other things, of course, because they couldn't smear their good family name and everything. But the funny thing is that Rocketeer, when it was released internationally, it was released through Touchstone, I think is what it was. It seems like it had another name, but I'll look that up and see what it was. Because they had so many different little and but Rocketeer was released through that, and internationally it wasn't. But so, oh my gosh, I so wanted to see this. I remember the commercials, and there's that line where you see the through the cornfield, you see the corn going up, and the two farmers are like, "Big gopher." They put that in the trailer. Yeah, and everything. And I mean, I just remember giggling. I just thought that was so funny, and so I wanted to see more of it. Of course, that was the part that I latched onto when I was a kid, and but I had, I thought he was so handsome. I did. I thought he was so handsome, and yeah, this in fact, I found this, and just by chance, this is the movie one, and everything. And this movie actually introduced me to Dave Stevens. I've become such a big fan of Dave Stevens' artwork and everything. If you've never seen any of his artwork outside of Rocketeer, yeah, he was the creator for Rocketeer, and but he did other things too, and he was known for illustrating. He did like the Jungle Woman and, and everything. He was a huge fan of Betty Page, and in fact, Betty Page was um, Cliff Secord's girlfriend, which I never understood, because Jennifer Connelly's character in the movie. And I'm sure that I talked about this in the other video that I did. It's been so long, but uh, Jenny Blake, of course, the name has changed and everything, but Jennifer Connelly, her whole look is exact to Betty in, but they didn't use anything the same as in there, because of course, a lot of you who follow the comic, it's like there's like, of course, she's a pinup girl, and there's that famous where she's getting photographed and people walk in and she's not wearing anything and she's holding herself like this, and it's yeah, there's that, and then striped outfit and everything, and yeah. So it just, I don't know why Disney decided to change the the name. I mean, they could have gone with Betty, just Betty, and I don't know. Betty Blake does sound a little weird, but anyway, maybe that's why. And couldn't be associated with with Betty Page. And I'm sure I said this before, but Dave Stevens. Now, Dave Stevens was, I guess, like an assistant director or something. I know he was part of the crew, and everything for Rocketeer. But when he made Rocketeer and of course illustrated Betty into there and everything, and made Betty uh, Cliff's girlfriend, he thought that Betty had long since passed away. Of course, I'm not going to get too much into it because there's a lot of people who have made videos about the whole thing with Betty Page. But now she had disappeared for a long period of time. And in fact, I think Bailey Sarian did a video. So those of you who follow Bailey, I follow Bailey Sarian. And go find her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did a video on Betty Page. So yeah, go check that out. But anyway, Dave Stevens had the impression that she had passed away. Now, of course, she passed away in like 2008, I think, was when she died. And yeah, because it seems like it was in the late 2000s. And of course, he passed away. He had some kind of cancer or something, so we sadly lost him. But they passed away around the same time. But anyway, so she she contacted him, and she actually loved it. She was, and so she would show up every once in a while when he would do like the conventions and everything. She would show up. There was another pinup girl or one, and I can't remember her name, but he also illustrated her and in one of his other, and did the same thing. So yeah, if you only know his work through Rocketeer, go look at his other stuff. In fact, there's a famous uh, cover for Elvira's comics from like the 80s where she's on the broomstick. Dave Stevens did that. And so yeah, he illustrated Elvira. And it's interesting where you will find his work. And but yeah, this movie introduced me to Dave Stevens and his comic illustrations. It's just, it's really sad that the comic industry lost a really good artist. And yeah, he passed away in 2008. Now, he did say, because Rocketeer bombed. I've said that before. But even he said, this is as good as it's going to get. So, and that's the thing, is a lot of times with these stories, now so many people want to take stories and make them visual. You don't want to use your imaginations anymore. And the harsh truth, I'm sorry to say. Reading, what is that? Using your imagination, what is that? And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, it's just how it is. I see so many times where people are like, this has to be made into a movie, it has to be made into a TV series so I can actually see it. And it's just the way of it. But there are those that it doesn't translate very well. You already have the visual in the comics. Why do you need it live action? So, like, one of the books that we read all the time was The Giver. It didn't work in movie form. It didn't. It's just one of those that reading it you understood it. But watching it, it just it fell apart. Yeah, it was terrible. And it was the same, Dave Stevens, but it's received a whole new following and everything else. And yeah, boy has it received a whole new following. I don't like what Disney is doing with it now. I really don't. First of all, they are, lack of a better word, they're pissing on his artwork. The art perspective of these comics now is trash. You look at his. I mean, it looks like a person. Now it's just like the the angle of the, yeah. Ugh, it just makes me sick. Because there are people who can draw almost exact to Dave's work and give full respect to his work, but Disney, no. It's like the shoulders are bigger than the hips. I mean, it's like the shoulders are this big, and then remember Powerline? Yeah. But then the legs are like thick, and it's like that's not what he did. It looks like, yeah, I don't know. It it makes me upset because this is not what Dave Stevens would want. And then the story that they come up with, it's like, no, no, you're killing it. Yeah. So I don't like that they take an already established story and try to take their little ideas, and that's what they're doing. And but moving on from that, I've had my rant. Oh man, back in 1991, again, I wanted to see this movie. So I was an outraged little 9-year-old. Because what happened was I begged to see this movie in the theater. And my parents always had this formula where they'd be like, "Well, get in the car." And the way that they said it, it was like, "We're going to go see a movie." So they said that, but then they took me to my grandparents' place and they saw The Rocketeer, and they talked about it. And oh, I was so mad. I was so pissed. And oh, I so badly wanted to see. And like I said, Disney had been putting out quite a few of these movies that were set in the 30s. I mean, even they had I think it was a TV movie, and because for the longest time I thought that Flight of the Navigator was a TV movie. Turned out it wasn't. It was just they had it, but they played it on the Disney Channel. But anyway, um they had Journey of Natty Gann, and that was set during the Depression. And then they had, like I said, Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Dick Tracy, and then of course Rocketeer. These are all set in the 30s. So they had this, and so it was just, seems like there were a couple others that they put in the 30s. So it pretty much, Rocketeer was the last one that they had set in the 30s, because then Newsies was of course 1899. So, but and yeah, Rocketeer bombed. And because I've said it before, they had this whole idea. Michael Eisner had this whole idea that he was going to have um, a trilogy. He tried with Dick Tracy. That didn't work because, again, Dick Tracy bombed. And then the Rocketeer. He shifted his whole idea because he wanted like this Indiana Jones thing. And it worked for someone else. So he was, I don't know what he was doing, but the marketing was a little bit better than it was for um, Dick Tracy, and probably because Dave Stevens. See, Chester Gold wasn't there. And yeah, I have some of the things. Like I found this. I think I did a video. It's been gone because I removed a lot of those where I was picking up stuff. But I found this. I do have a Dick Tracy one, by the way. They put out so many different ones. Now those of you that follow like gaming, like the classic gaming and everything, I think there's like three different. There's like a PC one and everything. I don't remember who it is, but he talks about how the PC version is just a stretched out version of like this. Yeah, they tended to do that quite a bit. It saved money. And then this is I have um the novelized version. Oh, I was so happy. This is the funny thing about the novelized version is there's it does have little pictures in it. Yeah, little promo shots and everything. And I think it just has like 3 pages of them. And but it has certain scenes in it. Like there's that part where Cliff goes to tell Jenny about the rocket, and he's at Hollywood, at her place of work, and that whole wall falls down, and of course he gets her fired. Well, there's a scene in this book where he meets Clark Gable. He's trying to find where exactly she is, and he meets Clark Gable, and Clark Gable is rehearsing his lines for Gone with the Wind and everything. So I love reading books like these because you find stuff like that, and it's like that's and then I found this one by chance. I remember when they would put these ones out for the kids, and of course they have the color pictures. Some of these are also in here that were in there, but those were black and white, and they're in color here. I had quite a few of these, but they were for like the Disney, or the like Little Mermaid and everything. I don't think I have my Little Mermaid one anymore, but yeah, they would put these out. I'm kind of curious to read these and see how watered down it is. I haven't read it yet, and I want to see how watered down it is for the kids. And but and then of course you see the stuff up there, the trading cards and everything, and the Beam and Scum. I also have the VHS. I of course have the DVD and all of that. And yeah. Oh, yeah. There is someone from Newsies in the I'm so dropping that. Yes, Newsies are everywhere. They're everywhere. But it's not one of the guys, actually. It's that scene where after he saved Malcolm, and of course all the newspapers are flying off, and it says the Flying Man and all of this, and Cliff is standing there next to the newsstand, and there's those 2 girls, and they're giggling and all of that. Well, Ella Keats, who was Jack Kelly's love interest, she played Sarah in Newsies. Yeah, she was in Rocketeer. So I think she even said, I wish he'd rescue me. I can't remember if it was her or her friend, whoever played the friend. And so anyway, yeah. Again, Newsies is everywhere. They're all over the place. But yeah, I love this movie. I think this is the movie that interested me, that kickstarted my interest in planes. And what's funny is, like, every once in a while Disney will refer back to this movie. Like, I swear, those of you that remember the movie The Kid with Bruce Willis, that intro with the airplane, I swear that is because they use the same kind of plane that Cliff, um, the one that he used, like at the beginning, the very beginning where they're at the airstrip, and where you hear the late. Oh, we got to talk about James Horner. You always talk about James Horner, and you think, oh, Titanic, yes, beautiful, Avatar, wonderful. No, James Horner wrote a lot of wonderful music, and he did for this movie. That wonderful intro, where they're opening up the doors for, yeah, that's a wonderful intro for a Disney movie. I'm telling you right now. And anyway, they wheel out that airplane. I swear, in The Kid, where you see that airplane all over the place, and all that. I swear to God, that is the same. I used to have that movie, and I don't anymore. But it's the same exact plane as what Cliff did. And then, of course, that movie Tomorrowland, which personally with Tomorrowland, I think that should have stayed in the park. And that could have been, yeah, it just seemed like something that they were trying to promote. Let's use the full word, not promote. They were trying to promote something in the park. It didn't need to be, yeah. It was an okay movie, but yeah. But anyway, yeah, they had like the Beeman's gum and some other things that were for for Rocketeer. So every once in a while they go back to, and but what they're doing with it now, what Disney's doing with it now, is a total piss fest on Dave Stevens and his work, and I don't like it. And I'm actually outraged by it because his illustrations are fantastic, and they're missing the mark entirely. They're just using someone's stuff to. I don't like when people do that. I really don't. And again, I've already had my rant. So anyway, I absolutely love this movie. Before you guys get the idea that I'm only centered around Newsies, even though there is a connection to Newsies, but they're everywhere. Oh, good heavens. But yeah, for once it isn't one of the guys. It's Ella Keats, and which she doesn't get enough credit for her talent, and personal opinion. And and yes, how many of us fell in love with Cliff Secord? I mean, we did. And the gentleman who played Bigalow, I'm sorry that I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. I'll put it in the description box. But we lost him a couple of years ago, and that's sad. And I always remember him when Cliff is flying around. He has to say Malcolm, and Bigelow is like, "Oh, it's all part of the show." Oh, I could quote this movie for hours. I love it so much. And again, Dave Stevens, we sadly lost him, and of course the late James Horner. And another little fact is, of course, those of you who remember in Little Mermaid, great, the song that Sebastian sings to get her to stay, and there's that line where he mentions "begin the begin," or however you say that. That song is used in the movie where they're at the South Seas Club, and when you look at the soundtrack, it's there. And Under the Sea, the song Under the Sea. So I thought that was the funniest connection, because at the South Seas Club, of course, there's that whole sea theme and the big clamshell and everything, and so Sebastian is singing begin to begin and everything, and I was like, Disney did that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I love this movie. I could go on and on and on, but I've already gone on this long and everything. So yes, I have the VHS. My mom found the VHS a few months ago. I thought all my VHS had been destroyed. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have the VHS. Yay!" Of course, I have the DVD and everything. So I have quite a bit of memorabilia for this movie. And so yeah, and Disney always goes back to it. And Michael Eisner wanted to make it a a sequel. My voice is going out. And wanted to make it a trilogy, and that didn't work. The movie bombed. And, to be quite honest, the creator Dave Stevens, he said this is as good as it's gonna get, just like I said. And but anyway, so yeah, I absolutely love this movie, and it has turned. Doesn't seem possible, but it's 30 now.